In this episode, we're doing the unthinkable.
No, we'll tell you later. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of So I Married a Mennonite. We are here at our beautiful historic farm here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and we're going to be sharing a little bit about the history of this ancestral family farm. And at the end, we got a big one. Biggest announcement ever. The big kahuna, the godfather.
It's going to be a banger.
Yeah.
The Hertzog Homestead has been in my family since 1786, when my ancestor Jacob Metzler purchased the farm. He was an avid farmer himself, raising a variety of crops from hemp to corn to wheat, but especially was involved in the coverlet weaving business. Unfortunately, none of his coverlet weavings exist today. His son, Jacob Metzler II, took over the farm in the early 1800s and converted the original 15 by 30 foot house into a two-story federal-style house. During this time as well, he deeded off land that eventually became Metzler's Mennonite Church, named after his namesake, and also deeded off land for the cemetery. This included the original family cemetery. He had twin sons, John and Jacob. When they came of age, John took the neighboring farm, and Jacob Metzler III took over what was known as Jacob Metzler's Plantation. In the mid to late 1800s, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania was going through a tobacco revolution, and many farms were being changed to accommodate this new cash crop. Jacob Metzler III was the first of the line to begin farming tobacco, and it remained a tobacco farm until my father took over it in the 1970s. Jacob Metzler III had 3 children, a daughter named Barbara Metzler, who remained unmarried into her 40s, a son that didn't reach adulthood, and a daughter named Lizzie Metzler. She married my great-great-grandfather, Daniel Buch. Daniel Buch took over the farm from Jacob Metzler III and helped transition the farm from horses into the mechanized world of tractors. He had 3 sons, Harry, Jacob, and Elmer Buch. Jacob and Elmer Buch remained on the farm into the 1970s, which was when my father purchased it from their estate. Kristen and I took over the farm in the early 2000s and converted it into a bed and breakfast, event venue, and a gift shop. From coverlet weaving to farmers helping their neighbors to the bonds of hospitality and celebrating marriages, the farm has evolved and continued to serve the community. The farm continues to evolve and adapt today.
So, we're selling the family farm.
What?
In this episode, we're just going to share our hearts about why we're selling the family farm, what brought us to this place in our lives, and a little bit about what is coming up. We might be closing these doors here, but we are opening new doors and new chapters in the near future, which we're super excited about.
We certainly are, that's for sure. It's not an easy process.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think that in our journeys, although we've been aligned the whole time, our emotions are different in this. Probably because this is your ancestral family farm. I just was lucky enough to marry into it and build a business within it. What is it like for you as a Mennonite man, as an innkeeper, as a family person in the community who's well respected here? Like, what has this journey been like for you?
It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. You know, when you look at a legacy farm, while my family was not the original owners, as you heard, we've been on this farm for 8 generations. It's hard, you know, you feel like in some ways you're letting your ancestors down in a weird way. You're letting all those that have gone before you down by selling the farm. I think the thing that I had to wrestle with was, in the end, whether we keep the farm for another 20 years or not, it doesn't matter if my son doesn't want it. And Kiefer has made it very clear that he's not built for a bed and breakfast business, right? He's
No.
not built to farm it. When Kristen and I took over the farm, we did not farm it. We rented out the farmland and we created a different business, a bed and breakfast and event venue, which was different than my father who lived in the farm where he tried to farm it.
How did the family, the community, how did they react when they found out that you are selling this beautiful historic piece of property?
Like, we had some people that totally got why we were doing it. We're in our 50s, younger 50s. We have always loved to travel, hence you saw the Portugal episode, and we didn't want to wait till we were too old to do that.
Yeah.
And then we had some neighboring farmers that said, over my dead body is that the farm that I live on is going to be sold. It's going to stay in the family and one of my kids is going to take it.
Yes, with a will. He's putting a will
he's
in.
Putting it in the will, right? And then we had some people that say like they just couldn't believe why we were selling this farm and what we're moving to is really downsizing. You don't think about how much stuff you accumulate in 25 years of living on a property.
When you're downsizing in your life, and people can even do this without moving at all, but particularly people who are retiring or they're downsizing, they literally keep everything that is still functional, right? They put it in boxes, they label it, but anything that's a memory, that is an object, things that I have seen around my property, in my huge attic, down in my basement, in storage. There's so much stuff. And if you hold that thing in your hand, if it doesn't bring you joy, you get rid of it. And that could mean selling it. It could mean Facebook Marketplace. It could be giving it to a family member, and it could be just giving it away. But the idea is nobody has that memory attached to that thing anyway.
Except for you. I had amassed a huge library of books, for example, that the chances of me going back and rereading them, pretty small. And my son doesn't have the same interests I do. So I wasn't holding on to them for anyone but myself and to say, look at this nice library I got. But if you're not going to do it, get rid of it. So a lot of that stuff was being sold.
And I think that just downsizing life in general has been very freeing. I'm really surprised at how, I can breathe. I know what I have. As we're going into the next phase of our lives, that's going to become essential, not to have a lot to tie us down.
We were inspired by a lot of different people in that. The retirement travelers who are on YouTube as well.
They're awesome, you guys.
They literally travel full time with nothing but backpacks. We aren't there.
No.
It's just a interesting challenge. In 30 to 40 years, we can't take it with us anyways.
Yeah,
right?
You're right. You're right.
And so what's going to be important? Well, it's going to be the experiences we had that we've shared with others, memories we've made with my son, with each other, and with the family. That's at least one of the reasons why we're making this decision.
Yeah.
We've been in the bed and breakfast business for now 20 years. And we're kind of saying, okay, let's do something a little bit different.
One thing that people will say that kind of shocks me about this, people come here and they're like, it's so peaceful. It's so zen. Why would you give all of this up? And I'm like, hi, we're setting a stage for you to come here. We are working like crazy people to make it look like this for you, the guest. It's not really zen for us, right? Because we see, that greenhouse there that has a glass pane that's cracked, or, I see a weed over there, or, the chicken house needs to be painted. Everything takes so much upkeep here. I remember a couple years ago, we were in Spain at this beautiful, tranquil bed and breakfast in a quaint little town. We got a call from our bed and breakfast manager at the time. It was now, I believe, 1 o'clock in the morning, our time in Spain. And it was
7 o'clock here.
Check-in time here at the bed and breakfast. And she was having a credit card processing issue of the bed and breakfast guest. And I just remember thinking on that day, in the middle of the night, I'm still working. And it was just one of those aha moments that I haven't really had a weekend off in 21 years almost.
But we began to feel, I guess, really solidly last year that it was time. And maybe it was soon after we were in Portugal last year. We returned to the episode you saw was from this year, but last year we'd been in Portugal as well. And after that, we really began to examine what we wanted to do over the next couple years. Kiefer is looking at school in Portugal because it's literally a fourth of the price of doing school here.
Yeah.
We were looking at where I was as far as teaching goes. I've been teaching 26 years, and how long did I want to do that? And did I want to do something else with my life? And we found as we began to dialogue about it, we really were feeling together. And not that we were aligned in every little small detail. We certainly had our challenges along the way, but we were scarily aligned. We have a
Scarily aligned.
I say
How
that.
do you say
What I mean by that is you and I are very different people. We have very different interests. When it came time to us saying, let's sell this farm, we were together on it. There's a lot of people that have suggested that somehow you were the one making us do it.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it comes from me being the business person in the relationship. You know, I'm the one who started the B&B, started the event venue with you, of course, like with you, you know,
Absolutely.
But this was really my brainchild. And I think that for some people, my personality, also being from out of the area, I think that some people would conclude, oh, this must really be her. She must be done.
They don't approach me on it, mind you. They don't talk to me. They'll talk to her about it. And then I'm like, okay, you know, if you really are wondering how I feel about it, talk to me about it. And they just don't.
You're much more reserved personality, and it's a natural thing that people would assume that. But, you know, this has been my home now for almost 22 years. This is my business in a lot of ways, as far as like the running of it goes. And, you know, the Hope for Haiti benefit auction that's been on this land now, that's been something that I, with your support, 100% have encouraged, you know, you've encouraged me in that. But like, I'm kind of the brainchild of stuff. And I think sometimes people can assume, oh, this must be a Kristen thing or whatever.
That doesn't mean it hasn't been hard. We sold the farm on public auction. On the day it sold, I could not be at the auction. It was so difficult. And there were times I felt really down about the process, while at the same time knowing that we were making a good decision for us. It's a legacy farm. So I'm a descendant of, you know, 8 generations of people that have lived here. And there's a good possibility that no one that's related to me may live here again.
And we did ask.
Yes, absolutely.
We did go to family members.
My brothers didn't want it.
Even like distant people, Scott's Ancestral Church. We went to the church. Who bought the property and what do they plan on doing with this?
An ex-Amish man and his wife, who is Mennonite. So it's kind of staying culturally in that vein. And their intention is to continue to run it as a bed and breakfast and an event venue. We don't know what that looks like exactly. Won't be Hertzog Homestead. If you keep an eye on the area, you might see another bed and breakfast pop up here. And we are still in the area. She's still married to a Mennonite here.
You know, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. This is kind of like a mini hop in the process of our grand master 3-year plan.
People do think we're crazy, though.
Yes.
Selling a farm and moving into a townhouse.
Yes.
Our plan is we're looking long term. We're looking 2, 3, 4 years out.
Yeah.
And where we're headed after that.
Yeah.
Which, to find out more about that, you're just going to have to stay tuned.
Yeah, for real. I will tell you this. I was at the roadside stand up here, and the neighbor lady comes out and she goes, "So, I hear you sold the farm." I said, "Yes, we did." And she goes, "Are you crazy?" And I was like, yeah, that's not the first time I heard that.
No, it's true. A lot of people just can't fathom why we'd sell this beautiful property.
Yep.
But we're looking, as we get older, of keeping ourselves challenged, not getting into a rut, continuing to learn. And we felt that one of the things that would do that is moving into a different area and planning to do something more exciting for us and maybe bizarre to other people.
Yeah, we always like to live on the edge.
The edge of insanity.
So at the end of the day, we're still sucking air together, right? I mean, we're still here and we're still going to create fun content. We love working together, which is totally weird. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Me, Kristen Hertzog, Scott Hertzog, and all the chickens in the back. For now, we say goodbye and take care.